This week on the project, we are peering into a crystal ball to find out the issues that we will all across the country, be talking about in 2019.
Zoltar, tell me what will happen in New Zealand in 2019.
Read the card. Down there.
We've had 2 attempts to have this law passed before.
For the third time in our history, New Zealand will decide on whether to legalise euthanasia. David Seymour's end-of-life choice bill passed its first reading in 2017. Last year, the public told Parliament what they thought on the matter. Now, the Select Committee is deciding what the new version of the bill should look like.
And on the 27th of March, they will come back to Parliament, probably with some suggested improvements.
So, if his dancing didn't send you to an early grave, his bill just might.
One of the big things to look out for in the new and improved bill will be who is eligible. Could be that we see this bill come back so that just those with terminal illnesses have access.
In a couple of months, Parliament will have a second reading to decide if the bill survives or not.
This vote will be a little bit different to the rest of the laws we see pass through Parliament because MPs will vote with their conscience. That means every single MP gets to vote and they don't have to stick to party lines.
If it does pass round 2, then the third reading is pretty much a formality. It's a done deal. But don't take any drastic action just yet.
One thing that is still to be decided is whether this issue will go to a referendum. That's something that NZFirst is pushing for, and it's looking likely at this stage. That means we could be voting on the issue in the election.
Before that, expect both sides to argue like it's a matter of life and death, because it is.
Some people will have to go through incredible suffering before the end of their life.
I hope people will understand what a big and awful step this would be for New Zealand.
But this legislation will allow them to foreshorten that suffering if it is their wish.
It makes New Zealand a dangerous place to be young and suicidal, to be old, depressed and sick.
Whether or not David Seymour's bill passes, some feel this may be the defining moment of the ACT MP's legacy.
I do think it's a bit, how shall I say it, somewhat odd though, that the one thing that you've got offering to the people of New Zealand is a chance to die. That's Mr. Seymour's problem.
Yeah, we've got a few, like I said last night, a few thorny issues coming up in New Zealand this year, and for me this is a really tough one because I find that I agree with whoever talked to me last. Like, people give a really good argument for this euthanasia bill and I think, yeah, I'm on your side, and then someone else will say what the opposite point of view is and I'll say, yeah, I'm with them, and I keep going back and forth.
I'm for. Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. There's just people that I actually believe it's humane.
Me too.
It will be really fascinating if it does get to us voting in a referendum about it, though, because I don't think it is just a yes or a no issue. Like, if you take the cap off this bottle, then you're sort of opening yourself up to a whole other world of possibilities. What happens if you're a person with dementia and you're not able to communicate your intentions? What happens if you're a person who has no speech anymore, and how do you get around that? Yeah, hopefully, perhaps we won't even get to that point. Perhaps our elected officials will make the decision for us instead.
Well, they're the smartest people in the country, so I'm sure they will.
Yeah. Well, we've got you here. What do you think is going to be the big issue of 2019?
Well, my hopes are that the big issue for 2019 is mental health. Well, you know, we've just had the